Hello, everyone. Welcome. It is the OTFB Football Podcast. I'm Dana. That's Lisa. That's Sonia. And we are all about the NFC West tonight. So, as a lot of you guys know, during the off season, we take each week we cover a different division, try and get us caught up on kind of where we were with them at the end of last year, where they're headed into this next year, and just kind of get a grip because I totally forgot Laken Tomlinson was on the Seahawks until he was at a presser today. Like things like that happen, right? Like there's so many changes and so many different things. So I wanted to make sure that we all take time to go ahead and take a look at each one of these divisions. Tonight it's the NFC West. Next week I think it's the AFC North, which will be a very good one too. So we are thankful for you guys for hanging out. Sonia, how's your week been?
Hey. Overall pretty good. Pretty good week.
Yeah. Summer's coming. Kids are here. Kids are home. Right, Lisa? Lisa was just saying she has a house full of teenagers and she's like, they're eating her out of house and home.
I know that feeling.
That's hilarious. Well, I am excited about this one, obviously, because why? It's my favorite division. Just not gonna lie, it's my happy place, right? So all of you guys watching over on Twitter and YouTube, and on Facebook, come on over to the YouTube channel, join our live chat. If you guys have any questions, comments, opinions, we love them and we like to share them with everyone else on the show. So if you're over there watching, feel free to come on over. Sadly, when you type in your comments on Twitter or on Facebook, we don't see them till after. So I want to make sure that we see them during the show. So make sure you come over to YouTube to join that chat. All right, let's go ahead and break down the NFC West. I've said this on a couple of other shows before, and I mean it. The NFC West used to be the toughest division in football and was for a lot of years, really the majority of the last 10 years. However, that has shifted now. And there's a couple of other divisions I think that are definitely in the running. And we're going to talk about them later on in the offseason. But there's been some interesting changes in the NFC West this year. I think that it's going to be maybe a lot more competitive, maybe working its way back to one of the toughest divisions in football. Ladies, let's start with the Arizona Cardinals. The Arizona Cardinals have had a bumpy few years, had a coaching change last year. Gannon is now their head coach. Sonia, this is terrible and I should know more, but how did they end last year? What did the Cardinals look at the end of last year?
So they finished their season, 4-13. And it was a bumpy season for them, but I think they kind of started to get in the right direction towards the end of the season. So that was good. They got Kyler Murray back from some injuries, so that was good. He kind of made his stake as the starter and the franchise quarterback, which was a big question, I think, going into last year. I think he kind of proved that this past season, so that was good. James Conner, who came over from, I think, the Steelers, actually had a really good year last year. So that was good. There are some good things. Their O-line, let's see, they kind of improved a little bit too. So that was good. Those are all good things. So, I mean, while they started off a hot mess, they kind of ended on a bigger upswing than I think what most people thought. Their record was the same between the 2023 season and 2022 season, but I still think they're kind of trajectory going into a better spot.
Yeah. So, Lisa, the interesting thing with this team last year is obviously they started out, their quarterback is injured. They didn't have a good line. There was all kinds of problems. And as Sonia said, they kind of started to uptick toward the end of the season. Kyler Murray started to look like the quarterback we've all been waiting for him to be.
Right.
I have a few thoughts on him and the rest of this team, but you loving a quarterback so much, what is your expectation? Because he has not been able to stay on the field and be that guy that they paid him all that money to be.
Well, and like you said, they paid him a lot of money. They've invested in him, and to kind of pat him on the back and tell them that he's their franchise guy. I mean, the whole franchise is going to go, and it's not a big secret. All eyes are on Kyler Murray this year, right? I mean, this is we always say this sometimes with a lot of these quarterbacks. I think this is it for him. I do. I think, they kind of, have bolstered the line a little bit, trying to get him, but he still, to me, is that option quarterback. I'm sorry. He always will be. Okay. He's not your prototypical quarterback. He's not that 6'4". He's short. He's got RPO to me all the way with the Cardinals. And if they can try to use him and utilize him, extend plays, those are big. Those are your run option quarterbacks right there, to try to extend plays down the field. We already know he has the arm. He has the ability to do it, but can the team coach him, and can the team coach around him and bring it all together, and keep him injury free? I mean, that's your big concern with him. He's small guy, taking hits all the time. So like I said, I think it's all on him, and this is a season for them to try to improve a running game, give him some options, give him some targets downfield. So I saw with some of the off-season acquisitions that they've done, do the draft, try to build the team a little bit around him, try to build this offense around him. Defensively, I thought the defense came along great last year, a lot better than what I expected, to be honest with you. So they were in some games. But to me, at the end of the season, it was those games where you have nothing to lose, to me. And it was just like throw the kitchen sink out. Right. And I always use that as, terms with the Dolphins a couple of years ago when, we had that losing season. It's just at the end of the season, we were doing gimmick plays and stuff because you have nothing to lose. It's, those are the teams.
Throw it against the wall and see what happens, right?
Exactly. So hopefully, maybe you learn some stuff from it and kind of build around them a little bit. So my thing with him is all eyes are on him. This is his last year. They've always flirted it, and you hear the rumors about, they're really not happy with him. They're, so we'll see. I mean, it's going to definitely be a different NFC West this year. That's for sure.
So Robin says in comments, talented but lacks leadership qualities. And I think that's been one of the biggest hits against him for this whole time. And we heard about the stupid thing with his contract. He's not allowed to play video games. Like, there's all those things. And then all the great jokes that came from after that. But I think
12.
Right. Yeah, it's fair. But, I think that actually Camden in our comments brings up something that I wanted to discuss. And this is Keim being gone from GM is the best thing that could happen for that franchise. So not only did they get a new head coach, they got a new front office. They made a lot of changes there. And you can feel like they are trying to bring a culture change around. Kyler's either going to fit into that culture change or he's not, right? He's going to step in and do it. Do I think he can do it? I do. I think that once expectations are put on you and then people hold you to that, I believe that he is the type of athlete that would maybe stand up to that. I think that could be really interesting. Sonia, Marvin Harrison Jr., their big draft acquisition, they were so excited. I'm worried, though, that much like they did with Kyler for a long time, all the pressure is going to be on this rookie's shoulders. I really do think, though, that if this coach is the right one, that they'll be able to figure that out. They had a great draft. What do you think will be the biggest asset for Kyler to have Harrison Jr.? Is it just the downfield? Is it what does he bring to that table?
I think he brings an element of, even though he's a rookie, I think he's got experience. And I think that he's got that pedigree from his dad. And I think that he will be able to handle it.
Yes.
He came out of Ohio State, so he had the Ohio State, Michigan thing, all eyes on him a lot of times. So I think that he'll be used to it. I think that will be an advantage for Kyler. I hope that they are able to get some chemistry and get together on things, but I think it'll be an advantage first off.
So I have to talk about these comments that I'm having such a good time with. First, Kristen. Now I'm going to tell you, our comment section might be loaded with Seahawks fans. Geez, I wonder why. But thank goodness Kyler's so inconsistent and smaller. Fingers crossed that he and Marvin don't have chemistry. I think that might be a little biased, Kristen. It's just a guess. I'm just guessing there. But because of Michelle, I love this. Michelle, our dear, darling friend, Michelle Jinks, who is going to be co-hosting our college show come this fall. I'm so excited for that. She's coming right after Lisa. Mahomes has changed what a prototype QB is in the NFL today. Today's QB has to be able to extend the play, throw and run. Yeah, but you said he's a RPO. So Murray's biggest problem is that he can't stay healthy. And that's it, right?
Yeah.
Because where do they go at that point? So let me look up their roster. I did pull up their roster. Hopefully my computer did not crash in the meantime. All right. So they have Kyler Murray as their quarterback. Desmond Ridder as their second. Some dude named Clayton Tune. God love you, Clayton. I'm rooting for you, dude. So anyway, Desmond Ridder is their backup. Obviously not ideal. No shade towards Desmond. Just not there. Go ahead, Lisa.
But obviously, with that type of backup system, they are planning on him being QB1. So how can you not, Michelle, say he's a run? But you can't even see he passed the line of scrimmage. Of course he's going to be an RPO quarterback because he can't see.
You didn't say that. I said that. No, I get it. I get it. But this is the best. Then she says, Harrison is a beast. I hate Ohio State. I love Michelle.
Oh,
all right. So it's interesting. So this is so really what I think all of us are agreeing on here at this point is the fact that the Cardinals will go by their couple of superstars. If Kyler Murray stays on the field, if Marvin Harrison Jr., knock on wood, does not get hurt. Like they're a couple of and they got 2 first rounders. Don't forget, you know, I loved the second rounder. He was one of my favorites too. I mean, their second first rounder, he was great. But this is a team that should be improved. And if you think they're going to be worse, you're just dead wrong, unless injury just destroys them. So I think that, Michelle says Desmond who? You know who that is, Michelle. But my whole point is that I think this will be an improved team, right? And I think that Arizona Cardinals fans, Lisa, you're right. This is the year.
It is. I mean, it's either a sophomore slump for the coach and quarterback, or it's, we saw a lot of improvement. We're going to keep riding the train.
We can definitely hope. All right. So let's move on next to the Los Angeles Rams. I'm real mad at the Rams right now because their draft was real good.
It was.
Their draft was so damn good. How did they finish the season last year, Lisa or Sonia?
So this is it's not about how you start, it's how you finish. So that was the Rams 2023 season. So they started off 3-6, but they finished 10-7. They were able to make it to the playoffs. They lost in the playoffs though, didn't they? Sorry.
They did. I think it was could it have been to the Lions? I can't quite remember.
Maybe. I don't know.
Yeah.
But so it's basically all about how they finished, and honestly the expectations on them coming into the season were not that high, so for them to actually make the playoffs was like butter. Right. Pua Nakua, their star wide receiver, like out of nowhere, 5th round pick, so that was excellent and amazing for them. Cooper Kupp stayed healthy for the most part. He played some games, so that was good. And Stafford actually, I think, stayed pretty healthy too, if I remember correctly. So I mean, pretty good stuff. But they brought it together and finished the season on the high note. They had a great draft. I'm thinking they might still kind of be on a higher note this season.
Here's the big news out of the Rams. Aaron Donald retires.
Yeah.
Aaron Donald, best defensive football player that's ever played the game. Yes, I said it out loud. Yes, I did say it out loud. Just saying. To me, there's no question. One of my favorite players in the NFL, even though he's in my division, right, as a rival. He does not make that entire team. And I think people are overestimating the impact of his loss with now leadership, huge, like all these other things. I get it. But I do think that the Rams knew that was coming. They were planning for that. They had an idea on what they were going to do. What's more interesting to me on that note is Matthew Stafford.
Oh my God, don't call him Matt.
I know. He loses
Get his wife texting our show.
She's actually a very nice woman, but yes, she would. But here's the thing with Matthew Stafford, Lisa.
Yes.
He's kind of old.
Let's talk about that contract.
And he wants a new contract. Tell me about it.
He does. You got to understand. He's 36 years old. He has 3 years remaining on a contract extension he signed in 2022 when he led the Rams to the Super Bowl title.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
He's due to carry a salary cap number of around $49.5 million this season, but doesn't have a guaranteed salary for next season. That's his holdup. He wants guaranteed money for next season. 36 years old. I mean, good business is going to tell you if you own the Rams, I want to see how he's going to hold up to the 2024 season before I'm going to guarantee him money for 2025. Come on, right?
Yes, but at the same time, that's his point. No, I want it now in case I get hurt in game 1, like Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I think that I get it. But at the same time, we saw that he can stay healthy. He can still play at a high level. I don't think there's much question about his talent and how well he can still play or any of that. It's just durability at this point, as it should be for any quarterback at that age.
Right. And I think, him showing up, he could have not shown up. He did. I think that was good faith in him to show them that he's, ready to go and lead this team, which is good. He hasn't talked to the media since the Lions defeat. He hasn't been made available to the media, which tells me, and being on the side of the media, it tells me that they're working on it, that they just don't want to, throw him out there yet. And I think they're working on something. I don't think, McVay, after his workouts and all the media stuff that I saw on him, I don't think they're too worried about it. So I expect to see him under contract. And I'm going to say the same thing. He's just got to stay healthy. I mean, they poured it on McVay. He came back. But like you said, what's that defense going to look like?
Yeah, for sure. All right. So a couple of interesting things. Michelle would like to remind us that her boo is the coach of the Rams. Yes, we love Sean McShay. Kid Wonder. He's not Kid Wonder anymore, though. The youngest head football coach in the league is up in the Pacific Northwest now. So he's not the baby of the team anymore, but definitely shown, I think there was a lot of talk when the Rams kind of went real downhill after their Super Bowl that, it was a flash in the pan. No, it's not. He's a great coach. People, quit your whining. But I do think that that he's put together and been really smart with a team, especially with Aaron leaving. So interestingly enough, we have Matt Stafford is the quarterback, right? Matthew. So sorry, Stafford.
Matthew.
His backup is Jimmy Garoppolo, who's suspended. Just saying. But then they have Stetson Bennett and some dude named Dresser Wynn. That's a good football name. I like that one a lot. But interestingly enough, I think
name.
I know. Oh.
I
know. So look at it. They have Kyron Williams, Blake Corum for running back. They have Cooper Kupp and Puka Nacua, two serious threats. They still have Tutu Atwell. They have, Tyler Higbee is their quarterback, but they also picked up Colby Parkinson, which is interesting to me as a Seahawks fan. Colby Parkinson used to play for Seattle, but he's getting rave reviews in camp, and I just think that they're doing it to troll the Seahawks.
Voluntary camp. They're just walk through stuff.
I think it's hilarious. But offensively, they have done a really good job, I think, with this team. It's on the defense that people were worried about, but let's be honest. They are a very well-coached team. They have a lot of really good talent on there. Tre'Davious White, he's listed as questionable, but I think that they believe that he'll be okay to play for sure. They have a decent line. So here's the interesting thing about the Rams is that they get to be underrated, right? Because people will be like, well, Stafford goes down, they're done. No, I don't necessarily think that's true, especially after Garoppolo comes back from suspension. So I think that that'll be interesting. I am not going to give my predictions because we do that the last Tuesday before I think the Rams could be a huge problem in this division.
Can I do the practice thing? Can I say it's just practice? We're talking about practice.
It is practice, 100%. But still, I do think this is interesting from Camden. Puka is overrated, just going to get better because of the hip drop rule. I can't wait to talk about the hip drop rule during the season. I can't wait to see how much that changes things. It'll be good. So, all right. So let's move on. We're not going to make 30 minutes this time, Camden. She was so proud of us that we made it 30 minutes last week. It's not going to happen. Sorry. So, all right, let's go ahead and move on we're going to move on to Seattle. I know that everyone thought I was going to leave Seattle for last, but I'm not. Come leave the Niners for
I
last.
did. Now I have to switch. Hold on.
Oh, I'm so sorry. So we're going to talk about Seattle.
thought we was going to the 49ers.
No. We got to give them their due. So interesting thing about the Seattle Seahawks. Obviously, new head coach, new coaching staff across the board. I think they kept one coach. Lisa, I'm not going to ask you about Geno Smith. So
I'm not going to say bad things about him this year.
Yes, you are. Fine.
He's not going to be a top 10 quarterback, is all I'm going to tell you.
He was last year. So anyway, let's go ahead. So here's the thing.
Okay.
Same really offensive players, right? So you still have Geno Smith up there. You have now, though, Sam Howell's the backup. Mr. Drew Lock went to the Giants. Poor guy. I hope he gets to play. I like Drew. He's a nice kid. But then you still have DK Metcalf. You still have Tyler Lockett. How did they end last season, Sonia? I know it was not the way most fans wanted.
Right. But I mean, y'all still had a winning record, 9-8.
Yeah.
So, I mean, there's that. It wasn't a total wash of a year, So I think they ended okay. Obviously your O-line needed a lot of help, still kind of needs a little bit of help, but yeah, O-line had a lot. It was basically like piecemeal put together. Bless y'all. But like you said, you have JSN, you have, Zach Charbonnet, Devin Witherspoon. I mean, y'all have a lot of good pieces, I think, there to keep things going. And I mean, even though you're not a huge fan of Mike McDonald, it's okay.
I don't know if I am. No, wait, I gotta correct that. I know nothing about him other than his interviews are a little boring, but I'm learning. I'm shelving it for now.
Got you. But he is a defensive guy. So I think if he is able to take what he did at the Ravens and what he did at Michigan, I think that Seattle's defense will come back and, maybe not be Legion of Boom, legendary, but they'll get back. I think they'll get back.
Really interesting. Their draft was real solid. It fit needs exactly what they wanted to. There was only a couple of question marks, but they're real excited about everybody. And this was the first off season without Pete Carroll. And so there's going to be a lot of change. This team is the wild card now. It could be a disaster. They could be fantastic. Nobody knows. So what's interesting to me, Robin, I love you. Robin's like, boring is good, Dana. I know, but I'm not used to it, Robin. I'm not used to it. I'll get used to it. I promise. I promise you. So I think that this is the wild card, right? This is the put all, the dice in the Yahtzee shaker and shake it up. We have no idea what's going to come out. It's really interesting. So Lisa, I want to talk to you. I'm not going to talk to you about Geno because we're not talking about Geno with you, but I do want to talk about something that Camden just said, which is interesting to me. Geno Smith and Brock Purdy getting paid less than Justin Jefferson combined. Those two quarterbacks are getting less than Justin Jefferson. And so I want to talk to you about how this is not a rebuild, but a retooling. And do you think Mike McDonald, they always say how many head coaches, stay after they get 2 years in the league, or there's some weird statistic with new head coaches. Do you think this one's going to stick? I know you're not a defensive girl, but you like coaches.
Well, and he's a defensive coach, which is like, I found it funny with DK when they was talking to him after, he didn't like the point that he was a defensive coach, and but he gave because Metcalf's only played for Pete Carroll. So, the players are going to go through a little bit of a change. We don't talk about that aspect of it, whether it's good or not. We saw that the Geno Smith transition was good. A new team, a new start was always good. Do the players feel comfortable with him? I think you're going to have to understand that. Of course, with him being a defensive mind kind of coach, is he going to be more in tune to the defensive side of the ball? Is he going to because we've seen that before where these coaches come in and they got to be coaches. They have to coach all aspects of the ball. And you certainly saw that. And I'm going to use a reference of Miami again with Adam Gase. He was on the bench when the defense was out there. Just you saw that.
I did.
So you have to be a head coach, and it's a different animal than what you're coming from.
Right.
he builds the coaching staff. So you look at your coach, you look at the people under him. So let's go to your offensive coordinator. Let's go to your defensive coordinator. Mm-hmm. Let's go to your linebacker coach. All that matters. Yeah. Coaching matters. Right. Because he's the head coach now. He's not a defensive coach right now. He's the head coach.
And I think, go ahead.
Go ahead.
I was just going to say, I think he's really ready for that. You can kind of tell that he is ready to look at the whole thing. Plus, you have to look at, he has nothing but new babies as coaches, right? That's why I was calling them. They're all babies. So you have Ryan Grubb, who was
is that good or bad, Dana?
Huh?
Is that good or bad? Because we've seen it go bad real quick with inexperience.
That's the question. So you have Ryan Grubb, who was the offensive coordinator at the University of Washington. So he didn't even have to sell his house. He just stayed. He's now the offensive coordinator for Seattle. Then you have AD, who worked with Dan Quinn, which I find very interesting, in Dallas, who is now the defensive coordinator. And there's a lot of people who are like, oh, he's a placeholder. This is going to be Mike Macdonald's defense. I don't get, and once you listen to an interview with him, I don't think that's the case. I think that Mike Macdonald has really given him a lot of leeway with that defense. So you have these brand new coordinators. You have a brand new head coach. That's what I mean by you don't know what you're going to get. It's really, really interesting to me. So then Kristen says in comments, I love that the Hawks are underrated this season. They're going to fly under the radar. It's a different place for Seahawks fans to be, is we don't know what to expect. We don't know what is coming. And I say we, because I am a Seahawks fan. Y'all know that. And so I think that this could be a disaster or it could be fantastic. Sonia, you know a little bit about Mike Macdonald from Michigan. Obviously, he's been a Harbaugh devotee. He's worked for both brothers for 10 years or something between the two of them.
Yeah.
Is he the boy wonder that everyone thinks he is? Youngest coach in the NFL.
Yeah, I don't think he's going to be a boy wonder like Sean McVay was. But I think that if he has this staff together and ready and willing to teach, willing to grow together, and I think really willing to build this up, he could very much so be a boy wonder.
That's awesome. All right. So Seahawks fans, we're going to talk about them a little bit more later in the offseason, but I'm going to tell you right now, we just don't know. I love that they don't. I could talk about this team forever because we could talk about Leonard Williams and do all this. I'm going to be on Camden's podcast tomorrow. So we'll get to talk
that's exciting.
Camden, you and I will talk about it quite a bit. All right. So let's go ahead and talk about the San Francisco 49ers. Now, this is the least favorite subject of all of our Seahawks fans that are watching, but I want you to stick around. So what's interesting to me about the San Francisco 49ers is every single year, this is the year they're going to fall apart. Every year, this is it. They're done. Their roster is going to be a disaster every single year. And what happens? Shanahan happens every damn year. Obviously, they went to the Super Bowl last year. Lost. Sorry. They lost to the Super Bowl to Kansas City Chiefs. But I do think that they are coming up on a bit of a brick wall. So before we talk about that, Sonia, other than we know they went to the Super Bowl, how did they end last year?
So let's see. They were 12-5. Brock Purdy did Brock Purdy things. I think everybody was really surprised by him, as he pretty much essentially had Tommy John surgery in the off season and came back and was just lights out. So they ended pretty well. I think they did. They had a little bit of a skid, I think, in the middle of the season, but they were able to kind of revamp and just get it all together, and boom, wound up in the Super Bowl.
God.
Not pretty little fella, Michelle.
Let's go, pretty little. See, you guys need to watch the call show. Michelle, let's go, pretty little fella. He is a little fella. Come on, little pumpkin. So Camden has an interesting point. And I was going to bring this up. The skid started with the Ravens game. Thank God. Right? So we can hope that Mike Macdonald has that magic.
Here's the defense, thing.
Then. Let's talk about that. So they do have Brock Purdy. They are going to have to pay him. He's coming up on the end of his rookie contract. They are going to have to look and see how they can adjust. We make fun on this show all the time that the cap isn't real, Lisa. But they are.
It's not. I'm sorry.
It's not. But at the same time, they are going to come up against a wall here in the next year or so. We've already seen them a little bit. They're dabbling in trading Ayuk. They dabbled in talking about trading Deebo Samuel. Like they've talked about getting rid of some of these bigger players. They lost a couple because to have to, and I think they retooled 2 big contracts, but they're going to have to start to make some room. But again, we have been saying that for years and they haven't had to do it. Lisa, is the only reason that they have been able to live within the cap, wink, wink, because they have a rookie quarterback.
Absolutely. I mean, they are paying him peanuts, and everybody said it all year. So it's funny, but I just have to laugh because it's like Christian McCaffrey's on the cover of Madden.
Good for him. Not a quarterback.
That's funny. And they were talking about how that's already affected his fantasy football stats because people believe that Madden curse. And
we've seen it.
So I was laughing. It is. I mean, they skirted by. They were very lucky. They honestly, they were. They got, they've got what a lot of my friends love to call with the quarterback. Cause, I have some friends that aren't like quarterback swabby. They don't believe that the quarterback is that big of a deal. They think that you can get a nice average quarterback, pay him a decent salary and put the money in other parts of the team.
Right.
Which when you look at the 49ers, your first instinct where the money's going to go. And I mean, reported Brandon Aiyuk is supposed to be, they reported off from $25 million a year. Wow. So that's kind of where you are. So you're looking at that wide receiver core, and then you're looking at Purdy going, yeah, you're going to have to pay the guy, but when? And right. I think until that comes, I think they're going to ride it as long as they can.
And how good of them to do it.
They know, they know. But what's funny is you got the sense last year, and we talked about that skid that they went through, because I mean, he threw some picks.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, when you get a defense, and that's what we talked about on some of our shows, that the defense are starting to kind of figure Purdy out a little bit. And it's not a hard, problem. You put pressure on the quarterback, he's going to throw some picks. You're going to force him into some throws. So he's an average quarterback to me. I think he's a good quarterback. I wasn't worried last year. I knew he would take them into the playoffs, but yeah, they're going to have to step up and pay some people because you've got a receiving core that wants money. You've got him that's going to want money. So
I'm looking at their depth chart here. So they have Brock Purdy as their quarterback. Josh Dobbs is their second. Just listen to these names, right? It makes me nauseous. Christian McCaffrey, Deebo Samuel, Brandon Ayuk, Juan Jennings, George Kittle, Kyle Juszczyk. I always say Kyle's last name. Juszczyk. I can't ever say it. Sorry. Trent Williams, Aaron Banks. And then you were like, oh, but that's just on offense. Let's talk about Leonard Floyd and Javon Hargrave and Nick Bosa and Fred Warner and Sherman. Oh my God.
There's talent, right?
It's talent. And that's just it. Sometimes you catch magic in a bottle. And I think that's what they've done the last few years. They made the right moves. They paid the right people. And it doesn't really hurt me to say that because that's just good football, right? Like good for you.
Right.
Now, I always say, look out, they're going to be Shanahan. And I know that I'm known for that. And what I mean is that he sometimes plays those players till they're almost dead. And, but he wants to get all of his money worth in Shanahan. But I think that this is an honest question. And I know it's one that Niners fans were asking after the Super Bowl. Granted, they were in their feels, let's be honest. But come on. So Kristen says, do the 49ers fans think that Shanahan can actually win them a Super Bowl, or is he going to choke again? There was a large contingent of 49ers fans who wanted Shanahan gone after getting them to the Super Bowl because he's been there twice, right? Both times choked. And so I think that is a valid question. Now, we also say in the playoffs, right? Sonia Way would say, it's their injuries, they add up, and it's who you got left on the team and all that. Yeah. And you're running into the Patrick Mahomes machine. And both times, right? And so I think that I truly believe Shanahan can win a Super Bowl. It's just going to take this much more luck. Do you think 49ers fans should be mad at him? Do you think he can do it?
I don't think they should be mad at him, but I think
real mad.
I know they were super mad, and I get that, but I don't think it should have been.
Right.
I mean, they scapegoated what's his face, Steve Wilkes. But I mean, I think kind of in a way, if they're upset that this year would be their prove it year kind of thing, but honestly, and you've got Patrick Mahomes, and he's hard to beat. They're
even without receivers. Yes, he is hard to beat.
Exactly.
He's elite.
And so, You just gotta. I wouldn't be mad,
Right.
But
yeah. So Michelle says weapons galore on both sides of the ball, but Shanny gonna Shanny. Yeah, I agree with that. But
I'll take Shanny.
I know
Let me
you
go
will.
to Super Bowl 2 times, baby. I'll take that every single year.
Yeah.
Right.
In it to win.
I'm sorry.
Absolutely.
I haven't gotten out of the playoff. I haven't got off playoff round in 26 years. And these people are going to be mad because he choked in 2 damn Super Bowls. Are you serious? I can't even get to the damn Super Bowl. And these fans are bitching. Come on, shut up.
They were bitching.
Shut up.
Camden says, and I think this is a great thing to end on with the Niners. Will the Niners even make the playoffs? Teams that lose the Super Bowl typically don't. I will tell you, yeah.
Yeah, I'm going, yeah.
I think they're going to make the playoffs. I think they're going to be just as good as they were last year.
I do too.
And that they are going to go head first. I think we have one more year of this insanely tough Niners team. Then 25. We'll see what happens when they have to start paying people. They're going to have to retool some of that. They've got some aging players too that they're going to have to look at. So I think that that's all really important. And so we'll see. 3 Super Bowls. Camden says, yeah, it was 3 Super Bowls. God, I just can't stand them. But at the same time,
I'll take 3 Super Bowls right now and have my coach choke. I don't care. Just get me there.
Well, I think that we're going to have one more year of being real mad at San Francisco in this division. I think that they're going to. The interesting thing, though, Sonia, I really feel like the other 3 slots, because I do think San Francisco, I'm just going to, spoiler alert, San Francisco is going to win this division, unless there's crazy injuries for some reason. But the other 3 slots, it's going to be hard to pick.
Can't say anything yet. Our pick'em show's not here.
I don't want her to tell me. I'm just asking if she agrees.
Yeah,
I think you're trying to tip her hand to get tips. That's what I think. I think you're trying to tip her and see what you're going to do.
Maybe.
No, I'm not going to tip. I'm not going to take that bait. But I will say that it is kind of up for grabs, though, for real.
It's going to be an interesting division. I've said this on a couple of the other shows that I do. I have this dread because I hate the unknown. And with Pete, I always knew what to expect, right? But at this time right now, I don't know what to expect. And that to me is a little nervous. Everyone else thinks it's fun. It makes me nervous. But it'll be interesting for me to see what Arizona, how that evolves. Does it evolve? Does Kyler keep his job? It'll be interesting with the Rams and how they deal without Aaron Donald. And if Stafford can do it. It'll be interesting with Seattle and their humongous draft class, because those are some big boys they drafted, and so I think that that's going to be really interesting too. And then you have San Francisco, the perennial, kind of winner right now. So I think it's going to be fun. It's going to be interesting. All right, everyone. Michelle loves you, Lisa. Niners, Dolphins in the Super Bowl.
Okay, now he can choke. Now we can talk about him choking in the Super Bowl.
You got her on our side. Yeah. Robin, I want to throw this in one more time because Robin is such a great watcher of this show and she doesn't chime in very often. But Robin, I feel strongly Seattle's going to turn the scales on San Francisco. I just want one. Just one, Robin. I just want to not get one.
Never know.
I just want one. We'll see.
You never know.
So. All right, everyone, that's our show for this week. We went 10 minutes over, Camden. I'm sorry, darling. So, but we will be back next week. We're doing the AFC North next week. Yes, I think we're doing the AFC North next week. Yeah. Every Tuesday at 8 p.m. Eastern time, 5 p.m. Pacific time. We hope that you guys join us. And again, join us on YouTube so you can join in the chat. We can chit chat with you like we've been doing tonight with the other people in our chat. So we will see you guys next Tuesday. Have a good night, everybody.